I don't know about Echo. I think not everyone knows how to play against him yet.
We have different opinions in the team, and some of us think it's like okay, champ, but it's not OP. I personally think it's OP.
Good job.
Like, this champion just blows my mind away. In terms of what he does, I don't know. I can't get him anywhere. He has his ultimate that teleports him back, heals him. He has a 2-second stun. I don't know. And then he does 1 million damage. So I don't know how to deal with this champion properly.
He just has everything. He has like the engage, he has the disengage, he has like the pick potential and the burst. It's just a lot of fun to play.
Echo es un personaje que está muy bien porque puedes utilizarlo de flex pick y en cualquier línea que vaya va a hacer su trabajo bien. Así que lo veo un pick muy bueno y a la vez que de ser flex pick y ser bueno, tiene un daño infrahumano.
He's basically like a really versatile mid laner. He works extremely well with ganks, he can bait people, he can actually escape fairly easy for ganks too.
Top is best because real laning phase is really strong and lane is longer than mid range. So that's why I can dodge easily gank.
I know Huni has been playing him a lot and he obviously likes those kind of champions, but I think it's mainly gonna be a mid laner. We could see him top because his stats right now are like pretty crazy since he just got released.
I think the best position for him is jungle or top lane.
For the jungle, I actually don't think he belongs there at all because he needs a lot of items to get going, so you can use him kind of as a CC bot or something, but I don't think that's what he's meant for.
I don't want my mid lane or my jungler to play it, I want it for myself.
It's good early game, I feel, but late game, if you know how to play around it and just like avoid the ultimate, then you can easily beat him.
He's fairly simple to use. You actually don't have to put yourself in dangerous situations unless you want to.
I think the champion has so much going for him that I don't think he needs any preparation. He just needs a keyboard and a mouse to use, and you just press buttons and you hope for the best.
We're hearing that a lot lately. I think there might be an echo in here, Crepo. Welcome back, everybody. Putting in their final preparations on stage are the 2-5 Copenhagen Wolves and the 7-0 Fnatic. So let's dive right into that matchup, of course. Bringing it in on the blue side, it will be the Copenhagen Wolves. That means in the top lane, we've got Youngbuck, Airwax in the jungle, Soar in the mid, Freeze the AD carry, Unlimited their support, and their coach, Dentist. Of course, this is a team that it definitely seemed like they've got a little bit of work to do still, Crepo.
And a lot of work to do because they're facing Fnatic, who are on the red side. So look at their roster. In the top lane, we have Huni. And later in the jungle, Rainover, mid lane Feveven, Reckless, former AD carry, Yellowstar in the support, and then Fantastic, their coach Daylor, always solid and always in for a good drafting phase.
Former poker player, or rather poker guy, he's always taking calculated risks, and it seems like it's always paid off.
High expected value is what he says.
And they get him back almost every single time. Yep. So far, it's worked out for him. But for Copenhagen Wolves, it's been a little bit less certain. Last week, or yesterday rather, they looked a little bit lost in that lane swap against H2K. They didn't really have much they were able to get done, and that was kind of the problem for them.
Yeah, they were down a lot of gold in that lane swap, and this guy right here as well, Youngbuck, he kind of got really far behind. He had a really big deficit around 8 minutes into the game. He kind of closed it out towards the 10-minute mark, but even then, he was down 26 CS, and this was the highest deficit we've seen all split. And it showed. Yes, he had the power pick in the rise, but it just wasn't enough. He got set behind, got snowballed upon, and they couldn't stop the bleeding to get that Jace in the mid lane going.
Yeah, the Echo didn't really help them out quite as much either. So power picks not able to do much. That's kind of the issue. They got outplayed on a micro level, on a macro level. You know, they couldn't do much, and now they're against a team that has even tighter holes to try and open up.
Yeah, they lost against H2K yesterday for people that weren't aware. Now they face Fnatic, very similar in the strategic approach to the game, also very similar in their just sheer amount of skill. You know, if you look at that roster, they have fantastic mechanics across the board. I would maybe even argue that the only person lacking a little bit of mechanics, that's my own personal opinion here, is Yellowstar. But what he may or may not lack, he makes up by far by the amount of shot calling and veteran leadership he brings to the table. Fantastic support player. That's why he's been for so long the best support player in Europe, because it doesn't matter, you know, what you do in your laning phase necessarily, because he transcends that and he brings that out on the Rift and he just leads that completely new Fnatic squad to #1 spot so far.
Yeah, he's a very, very proactive player. Not only is he making those calm calls, making sure everyone is following him, but also what he does, he doesn't necessarily need to lane that much. He's roving around, he's making plays, he's setting things up. The Wolves will really have to pull out all the stops to deny anything away from Fnatic today. It's a tough task, but they're maybe feeling a little bit more confident these days. Let's see what happens with them as we get ready to get into picks and bans.
I wonder what their approach to the game will be actually today for the Copenhagen Wolves. Are they going to just try and match Fnatic in what they're strong? Or will they bring in some of these unconventional picks? Some people like to call it cheese. I like to call it diverse strategy. No, actually, I call it cheese anyways.
Well, yeah, could be both, right? Not?
They've been having the issue where the guy on the far right there, earlier, Freeze, he was their main threat. You know, he was the one-man carry because Soren was kind of falling back a little bit. Youngbuck always had a pretty hard time. Traditionally, was just put on tanks, and yeah, it's getting rough for them to survive because it's really easy to identify somebody as a single carry, as a single threat, and then shut them down. And we saw H2K did it earlier today as well. If the Vayne is a threat, 5-man dive him. You know, if Freeze is a threat, we might see Fnatic do the same.
Yeah, this is the problem that the Wolves have had since the start of the split. So they didn't change anyone on their roster, and they just sort of presumed that they'd still be able to rely on Soren and Freeze and maybe be able to go even everywhere else, but it just hasn't been the case. They haven't really lived up to the somewhat improved Wolves that we saw between the summer split of 2014 and now, and it seems like they're falling back into bad habits, back into bad patterns, and that doesn't bode well for them trying to make a playoff run.
Yeah, definitely doesn't bode well. Obviously, they're facing Fnatic right here, so let's be honest. Expected is a loss, and Fnatic is expected is a win, but often in these matches where it's so clear, you have to be careful, you know, because you don't want to slip up and give away this, you know, on paper, relatively easy victory because it would mean so much for the Wolves. Yeah, momentum they could get out of one victory here could mean a lot.
That's the thing that you don't always think about when a team is so heavily favored against another. The mental factor. There's no pressure really on the Wolves because no one expects them to win this. Whereas for Fnatic, if you let that get inside your head, you can make mistakes, and they can end up, you know, costing them the game, costing them a whole lot in the beginning. So we'll see what happens as we get loaded up. We're about to head into picks and bans. We'll see with the Wolves on the blue side what they decide to take away first. It is the Hecarim away from Huni.
You say it right there. Complacency can come to bite you in the butt, but Fnatic, expect them to just straight up ban the Draven and
no reason
get rid of that. And it seems like one of the teams the least likely to get, you know, complacent because they have that veteran leadership in Yellowstar, and then they also have that fantastic coach in Daylor, and just a whole heap of talent in their roster.
Yep, there is the Rumble ban as well, so the trend continues of trying to target ban the Huni.
So many bans.
But he still manages to find these picks. If they leave Echo open, the Rise is banned now. It could be first pick. Airwax prefers it, but still, let's see what Fnatic bans away. There's the Kalista, so now Sivir becomes a very, very popular pick. Will they abandon Huni to having to delve even deeper into his champion pool, or will the Wolves let him have the Echo?
Who knows, honestly, but I just want to highlight yet again, and it seems so common, but triple ban on Huni, take away one of his champions. Four champions challenged on Huni, and usually you see top laners have to dig deep here, but Huni, he could easily play...
But they get Sivir Alistar out of this.
Yeah, he could easily play Maokai, he could easily play Gnar later, and Fnatic opening with a, you know, a signature draft of a team that likes to play, you know, strategic type of gameplay. Early Sivir, just like we saw H2K do. Kasing would have maybe here went Thresh, but Yellowstar says, we'll do the job on Alistar. Later on, Reignover is likely to pick a tank. Both tier 1 junglers always stay up against Fnatic. This is one thing that always tends to happen. Even though you could pressure that jungle pool by banning one, forcing them to ban another, you can't because all your bans have to go to Huni. And then Reignover, in almost every single game, gets either Gragas or Rek'Sai.
And they'll do it again here. We've got both of them open. We know that Echo is actually more preferred for Airwax, so unless they want to switch things up and send it on Youngbuck, Reignover has his pick of the jungle.
Yeah, and I just pinged our stats guy and asked him just how many times have people banned out Huni? 21 in 8 games. 21 bans he's drawn personally in 8 games. That is incredible. I think that's unprecedented almost, and it's not like Fnatic is the Huni show, right? To have threats in every single lane.
Do this.
But I wonder when people will start stopping to do that and try and target the different champion pool. Maybe hit Reignover, because he is the one that ties it all together for me. He's the glue for Fnatic.
For now, it hasn't happened, and Copenhagen Wolves are going to grab the Morgana for Unlimited. Also, the Jace comes into play against Soren. Managed to not do too much on it, I would say, but it was a rough game for the Wolves all around. Let's see what Fnatic want to do here.
They're setting up a bit of a poke composition on the Copenhagen Wolves. However, Fnatic already has the hard engage to stop that. Usually, this is where you see Reignover pick up the Rek'Sai. Seems to prefer that over the Gragas. He can tunnel in.
Doesn't have to right
He
now,
might want some hard engage. Yeah, he can wait too, but he did favor that Olaf yesterday.
Clearly, he's favoring it over that
with
those
the Sivir.
top-tier junglers. I can see why this is really useful, because Olaf can run at you really fast in this composition.
And he can just walk into the poke as well, you know, pop that Ragnar, get the wild go from Lulu, get the on the hunt from Reckless right there, and then become that one-man axe-throwing army. Has to keep snowballing though. Initially, Olaf is pretty squishy, even though he looks like the big menacing tank coming in, but you can definitely take him down quickly. If
Still,
you can
you can't lock him down, and when he's low, he is a very, very threatening champion all around, and a lot of teams aren't used to playing against him. When Reignover brought it out in the spring split, it was quite unexpected. It led Fnatic, who at that time were very untested, to a huge series of victories. They also take the Lulu, so this is going to go over to Febivin. It's possible it goes over to Huni. I suppose it's still that flex pick.
It is.
We don't really know at this point where Huni's going to go to, but
traditionally, given the style of Fnatic, it's incredibly likely that the Lulu will end up in the mid lane. Doesn't strike me as too much of a Huni champion. I'm sure he can play it.
Look at this.
It's better.
Wolves. There's no tank. They go for the Vlad. They take the Caitlyn for freeze.
Yeah.
So that should be Vlad top.
So they have the part of a very, very strong poke siege comp, right?
But if they get dove.
Caitlyn, yeah, just can't get dove. Caitlyn Jace is incredibly potent at taking down towers, so that's what we need to see. You know, early pressure in the lane. Caitlyn outranges Sivir. Might prompt the lane swap from Fnatic. See if the Copenhagen Wolves can call that, because Vladimir in the lane swap doesn't do too well. So that's number one objective for Copenhagen Wolves. Match that lane. Caitlyn Morgana should be able to destroy Alistar Sivir. Double range advantage, CC advantage, and just more raw damage on that lane. So definitely, that's what the Copenhagen Wolves, they want this 2v2.
And for Fnatic, you can put Febivin,
interesting,
Victor into his hands. That means we will have a Lulu top. So safe choice for Huni. He may take a backseat on the damage this game, but then again, as Ryu proved the other week, still get big picks.
I like this draft from Copenhagen Wolves, except the Vladimir pick. Not too big of a fan. I feel like you're putting too many eggs in the scaling basket as well, and if you miss your lane swap...
Well, Gnar was up, Maokai was up. I mean, they could have...
Exactly.
They could have done that. In fact, Fnatic could have done Maokai for Huni, and that would have been an even better lockdown comp, in my opinion. But still, the Lulu's not a bad choice.
Yeah, Lulu works with the composition, you know, on the hunt, speed up, get some shields out, buff up whoever gets caught. It's extra appeal for Victor. Victor has the issue that he's a very immobile mid laner. He somehow gets engaged upon. He deals a whole lot of damage, but if you want to keep him alive, yesterday we saw Fnatic pick up Victor and have the Janna with the Flash Monsoon to keep him alive. Now they have some peel from Alistar. They feel it's not enough, so they want to add a little bit of a Huni flavor to that with the Lulu. But again, no hard lockdown from Fnatic just yet. You don't have the Alistar paralyzed, but they usually don't need it.
Yeah, that's true. And also you can see what they're going to try to do possibly. Just get Reignover to run in there on Olaf and just wild growth in the moment he starts taking damage. But
go ham.
It could work. We'll see if the Wolves, though, can maybe do something here. Do you guys think that's possible? Why don't you let us know with your predictions at LOL Esports is the place. CW win or FNC win are the tweets, the hashtags. That's what we want to hear. We'll read those out later on in the day. But for now, there's not a lot of Fnatic shirts in the crowd. They're definitely making some noise now as they prepare to meet the Copenhagen Wolves. Their 8th game in the split here. We're starting out onto the Rift.
Now, I really want to figure out what both of these teams are going to do level 1 to get the lanes they want. Copenhagen Wolves on Vladimir in the solo lane. Ideally have the jungler start on the weak side or on the bottom lane side. Get to level 3 to protect and shadow that young buck on Vladimir. Keep him alive. And Fnatic, they want a lane swap.
They may indeed get it, but for now, fanned out around the map. Copenhagen Wolves are going to be going pretty deep here to try to get some vision. They might want to be trying to scout this lane swap, and Axe goes into Unlimited's face. They won't stop Copenhagen Wolves from pushing 5 members into this jungle. That's going to prompt the typical response from Fnatic. Let's go down to the bottom side and do the same thing to you.
Now, how well have these teams studied each other? Are there patterns in their lane swap behavior? Can you trick them into doing what you want? Copenhagen Wolves, are they just going to take this preemptive swap, stay here? I'm going to go bottom. Is Fnatic going to say, okay, who's predicting who? I just want to see how it turns out. I'm done trying to predict this.
A lot of wards out for Fnatic through that bottom jungle, but they also managed to get one around the Gromp, between the Gromp and blue, since Huni was able to move around and place that down before he backed. So they'll have a little bit more all-around vision.
The one thing, though, if Fnatic chooses to stay bottom, they have the option to take a camp if they want, because Copenhagen Wolves are about to reveal themselves to a ward. So if the Copenhagen Wolves want to lane bot and get a camp, they will get spotted by a ward. This is Fnatic having good vision control right here. So now they can choose. Is it too late to swap? Yes, it is. We'll have to lane this.
Really like this. They knew exactly what was going on with the Copenhagen Wolves. So with all of that...
Well, they didn't. They had a good way of finding out, but they still got the wrong lanes.
Well, they had to guess beforehand, right? Yeah. So then they consign themselves to it, but still
they have the
knowledge. Know what they're up against before they go through. So let's see if that's going to be enough to get them through the laning phase. As the Gromp is started on Fnatic side and the Krugs are started on Copenhagen Wolves side. We take our places, we have our normal lanes.
So Yellow Star started a heal on that Alistar, knowing he slows the Gromp down just a little bit, but he knows he's going to get pushed in anyways, so he doesn't need that combo on level 2. Look how they're not touching any creeps until the very last moment, because they know they're going to get pushed, so they want that to happen as quickly as they can. Freeze, extra shot on the minions, draw some aggro, this facilitates the push. This is 2 extra auto attacks that Freeze just wasted. Not in the sense that they didn't do any damage, but in the sense that they pushed quicker. Same here, Unlimited, you know, he's poking on the bot lane. Every time you auto attack within minion range, you draw aggro. So that's what Yellowstar's trying to do. He's just like, hit me in the face. Make my minions attack you, your minions attack my minions, we don't lose any creeps, and then we can farm on the tower. And now we have to see how well can Yellowstar and Reckless CS on their tower. And how well can Youngbuck CS on their tower.
Question for both of them right now. So Dark Binding goes a little bit wide. Reignover, though, is making his trip down bottom. Let's see if he stops for a side of crab first. Nope. Actually, yeah. Okay, let's take it. Let's take 1, let's take 2. There we go. Get himself a little bit of early vision.
He has to be careful of the counter gank. So he can't set up for this gank here because he's smart enough to know that that one that will be warded. He knew where Airwax started as well. He started on the Gromp, so he knows exactly what pattern of jungle Airwax is in, and he might actually go find him.
Oh, he might. There's the ward down. Airwax is low. He's got to back away from this Raptor now. He's going towards him on the aggro, turns his attention to Reignover, should be able to pick that one up, but Airwax jumps in, gets it, secure it, there we go, the axe slows him down. Reignover's ghosting in, parallel convergence coming down, and he throws it in. One more, there's the shield, Airwax stays alive, but it was a close miss.
Expensive Raptor. Yeah. And now we can go back to bottom. He finds the jungle first. Instead of running the risk of getting counter ganked, he takes out threat number 1, which is jungle, and he can now dive behind that bot lane. They also going for the minion attacks, he wants a Q flash.
Unlimited is there, he gets chunked out a little bit. There goes the Dark Binding, and Reignover takes a lot of damage in return. He'll have to back away, but that does buy Reckless and Yellowstar some time on the minions. As Huni
it gives them breathing room. Exactly what they need. They got pushed to the tower. Look at the CS differential on the bottom lane. 10 CS down on Reckless. So this is why we wanted to see that lane swap come out. Because Youngbuck, he's even and still has his teleport against Huni. So he's going okay. If he would have gotten lane swapped upon, he would have been really far behind, and we would see a reiteration of yesterday, because Vladimir doesn't have that utility that Lulu brings to the table. Lulu from behind with Wild Dwarf is still fine.
So Fnatic's okay with this, but again, it's not the ideal start for them. So they really weren't able to make as much done since it took a while for the Wolves to really reveal themselves. Reckless spell shields, the Dark Binding from Unlimited. But now he's starting to catch up. He's still 10 CS down, though, as you mentioned. We'll take a look at this mid lane. Soren and Febivin, it's been pretty much dead on even. So you said earlier, Febivin is on a very immobile
signature gank from
there we go.
From Echo. I've seen this before. Parallel conversion. Phase dive 1.
The Febivin, he's going to have to flash it.
He respects it. Yesterday we saw people hesitate, see the parallel conversions come out, and then dive to that gank. Almost seems better for mid laners to ward your own Raptor camp against an Echo these days. Because this is the 3rd time in 3 jungle Echo games that we've seen this. I think we've seen Svenskeren do it as well. Hide in the Raptors, parallel conversions, wait 2 seconds, phase dive dash over the wall, and then try and land that auto attack, extended auto attack gap closer on the mid lane. Very good against immobile mid laners.
He's getting a lot of practice on this jungle Echo as well. Now he's found Huni.
He's Reignover
with the convergence. Reignover's there for the defense, but still nothing doing for Fnatic. They're not really able to find an answer to him just yet. He's a little low on mana, so Airwax won't be able to make any more shenanigans happen for just a minute, but still, he's perfectly fine. Take stock of the 2 junglers, though, too. What are they both doing right now? They're both trying to get respective lanes ahead. It seems to be working fairly well for both of them.
They're just the insurance policy for every one of their laners right now. And Copenhagen Wolves, they can be very happy with this start. Look at Youngbuck. Yesterday he was down in the biggest CS at 10 differential that we've seen so far in the split. Now he's actually just 4 CS down against Huni. Against Huni, you might as well call that a lead.
We've still got 4 more minutes to go before we figure that one out, but I don't see that changing anytime soon, you're right. So, meanwhile, Freeze and Unlimited are still keeping that lead over Reckless and Yellowstar. That CS differential to 11. It hasn't grown by much, but look at this. Reignover's coming down again. Is he going to get spotted? There is a ward in that brush.
It's so hard to gank this lane, because Yellowstar has to he has to telegraph the move. That's what it means, you know, that distance is too big. Go to the minion attacks for Freeze.
He is very low. Do they have enough to take him down, forcing the Summoner Hill? Reckless checks very deep into this one. They don't quite have it. So that will mean they're just going to have to settle for getting a little bit more pressure.
Yeah, if you're outside of combo range, usually, yes, you can do minion taxi, which is W to the minion, and then Q flash forward to close the gap, but you always have that black shield. And the second Yellowstar dashes to the minion, Unlimited knows what's coming. He doesn't have to react to it. He can just predict it. Like, why would Yellowstar dash to the minion? Of course he's going to Q flash. Black shield preemptively. He dodged the Olaf. Good reaction from Copenhagen Wolves. However, this losing matchup is only down still to 10 CS that it was earlier.
And you kind of expect this if you have to take the 2v2.
Mostly due to the pressure from Reignover though. Usually Reignover uses his pressure to get Fnatic ahead.
Freeze is really low hanging around here though. This is dangerous.
And now he used the pressure to stop them from getting behind. But Freeze, he did drop low, but Unlimited, he can just put the pool in the brush right here. I imagine that's what he's gonna do. See if his gold ticks. Right. Or the binding just disappears. It means you hit an angry cow.
All the more angrier. So for the time being, Reckless will have a little bit more breathing room. While the first back happens for Freeze, he picks up his BF sword. Easy peasy.
He's fine backing on that amount of money. So even though he got chunked out, he has the ideal base timing for a Caitlyn. So
he had a bit left over too.
Enough talk about the bot lane.
Let's move it around though, because Huni's been pretty much back and forth a little bit with Youngbuck. There's been some help from Airwax in that department as he's hanging around to the top, helping Soren get his blue. And Soren has actually kept pretty even pace with Febvin here. I want to see what happens between in this Victor and, of course, Jace matchup. It's a lore battle, really.
Not too much informed about the lore. What I do know is that usually when you look at scaling compositions, like the one from Wolves, you would say even is ahead. Because if you stay even in the early to mid game, that means you'll eventually get ahead in the late game. But also, usually when you look at Sivir compositions, even is also ahead because you just want to wait till level 6, group on an objective, try and take that down. I want to see Fnatic secure a tower or a dragon soon before Copenhagen Wolves scale too much.
Yeah, so for the Wolves, yes, they kept the Sivir down. That doesn't really mean as much as you just said. If they go ahead and get an early dragon, that'll get them rolling, but I feel like Fnatic is a team that's not going to easily give this up. The Crab is already taken down. They'll have that vision available if there is a movement by the Wolves, but they seem more content in just letting the lane phase play out for the time being.
No, in terms of dragon pressure, right now it's the Wolves that have to stop Fnatic from getting it. The Wolves are still scaling right now. They still want to get into late game with that poke on Jace, with that Vladimir. They just want to prevent Fnatic from getting that early dragon. If they can stall it into like 12, 13 minutes, that slows down the third potential dragon into a very comfortable timing. Yet again, we see that range advantage right here. Reckless has to farm into two champions with bigger range than him. And they have the Black Shield to counteract the very obvious combo that Yellowstar will have to do. I'll heal for a lot there, so I imagine, yeah, just take a look here. Yellowstar has 3 points into that heal, so less teamfight value. You know, no up value in Pulverized, no more, like, less cooldown on Headbutt, so everything into the heal just to survive that lane.
Meanwhile, Soren has actually developed himself a little bit of a lead here. Let's take a look at those dragon timers. It takes a very long time for the Wolves to usually get this one. They're not too worried. It's their average, but Soren, he's going in. Chaos Storm down. He has to flash away from this. Reignover gets on the run. The teleport comes in from Huni. The axes are flying. They've targeted out Airwax. Let's see if they can take him down. Another teleport, flashing on in, looking for Snorn. Wild growth on the Olaf, and he should be able to secure first blood. There it goes. Still running through. Febvin providing extra fire. A double kill for Reignover. The Olaf is going wild. Ragnar rock and roll, and Unlimited goes down as the rest of Fnatic collapse around. Reignover finally falls.
And this is why Huni is the carry of Fnatic. A fight breaks loose, initiated by the Copenhagen Wolves in the mid lane.
Goodbye.
And Huni arrives with his teleport before Youngbuck even starts channeling his. He gets in there, he gets a 2-man wild growth. He takes down somebody else, and he carried that fight so hard for Fnatic, because this is Copenhagen Wolves initiating this play. And Huni reacts quicker than the Copenhagen Wolves' top laner. And you give Fnatic an inch, they'll take a mile. Watch that again. So look, this is not Fnatic starting this play. You go on even. Look at the teleport right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He lands. And then go back. Now Youngbuck starts coming in. Look at the wild growth. 2-man knockup on Olaf. Exactly what we said was going to happen. Youngbuck hits one guy with ultimate. Bot lane coming in as well. Freezes late to the party. Unlimited flashes in, but there's nothing he can do. And then they somehow keep Reignover alive long enough for them to just convincingly win that fight. Huni gets protected by his teammates. Everybody wants to take the bullet. Eventually Youngbuck drops. And that's... We went from such a stale early game to explosion.
That's a Fnatic game in a nutshell. They bide their time, they wait for a minute, they react quicker, especially Huni on that teleport. And now this dragon, it should be free. They're taking their time about it. Unlimited is going to send a binding that way, but it'll just help Fnatic secure this one up. First dragon, first blood, 4 kills to 1. They've got themselves 2,000 gold ahead, Crepo, and this is just looking like Fnatic game by the numbers to start.
And I wonder, how does this make the Copenhagen Wolves feel? They must regret going for that play and somewhere along the lines it went wrong. They could have had so much. Ended up with so little. They had that advantage. But Reckless is good at playing these losing matchups and just going even. Because he knows his team has his back, and he knows eventually Reignover will show up and shadow that lane. And now they're looking for a dive on the bot lane, it seems. Your camera.
There we go, Unlimited, very low, Reignover running on through. You can't stop him when he's Ragnarocking, and Freeze trying to jump back, heals to stay alive longer. Reignover will take the last tower shot, but he doesn't go down. Again, Fnatic with a successful dive, 2 pickups. He can take a tower from here.
We went from bang on even to 3,000 gold lead at 13 minutes. Roughly a 3-minute span. Fnatic, their foot on the pedal.
They saw what H2K did in their game, and they said, you know what? We can do that too. Yeah, right now they're on pace to do it, but still, Fnatic just master strokes, playing this one out so well in the beginning.
Yeah, completely mirrored, right? You're losing bot lane ever so slightly. Oh, just bring more folks to the party. Dive them. You have Alistar. Press W, press R. And watch that tower hit you 6 times in a row without taking any damage.
Yep. And Huni now strong enough to deal with Youngbuck solo.
Not quite yet.
Okay, maybe not. Oh, Wild Growth forces Soren and jumps on in. Whimsy to get away. Emo Plague doesn't do enough damage, but Soren closing the gap. He's under tower range, slowed by the Glitter Lance. Does he have a shot? No!
Oh, he misses!
Huni!
Huni Houdini! He manages to escape right there. The crowd, they're loving it.
Youngbuck's in trouble. He has to go under the tower. Yellowstar stopped by the binding, but man, those fancy feet to dodge out Soren's shock blast. What a play.
Oh, what a play. He did everything right to get out of there. Still a little bit of help on Copenhagen Wolves' side to allow him to escape, but somehow it happens every game, right? We say, who needs a top lane carry? We say, Lulu, nah, you can't carry on that. That's utility. He's not gonna play that. Teleports in the mid lane. Full 6 seconds ahead of Youngbuck. Perfect wild growth, and now suddenly he finds himself 0-4.
They threw 3 bans at this guy. First picked away his next favorite champion. And he still does this.
He still has more
champions.
champions.
Can you stop this
No,
guy?
you don't. I think people should really stop banning Huni and start looking at hitting other champion pools. Fnatic is so used to having everything open for them. Like this Olaf, like this Alistar. They're now
and they take what they want. It's not your blue buff, that's our blue buff. So, we're just about shy of 15 minutes into the game. Fnatic's got this gold lead of 4,000.
Hang on.
They're gonna grab another tower. Well, okay, 4,000 and some change. About 5 now.
Give or take.
Yeah, you know, it's just counting it up. They're trying to match what H2K was able to do earlier. Youngbuck's gonna find anything in this rush. But they own this map. Look at the wards. They've got them all over the jungle of Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah, I love the triple pink ward lineup. Huni,
oh god,
dueling, throwing that pixie in Youngbuck's face.
Help Pix!
One,
He's
two.
going for the dive, the flash! Oh! Huni! Can he get out of this?
Nope.
Yeah, yes! Wild growth! Hello!
Calculated.
Calculated aggression.
Huni Potter, the boy who lived. Look at those glasses.
Really
look at those pink wards that Fnatic has placed in the river right now. They're line number 1, and then they back them up and they give offensive vision to defend those pink wards and just completely control the river. You know, 1, 2, 3 on the left side, 1 more deep in the red jungle, 2, 1 tower going down here. Copenhagen Wolves, they're back against the wall. Airwax going in.
Febivin targeted by Airwax, who has to turn his attention over to Reignover, who's Ragnarocking, and the Hemo Plague comes out as Youngbuck joins the fray, but Yellowstar stops him up for just a minute. He's looking for Febivin. He's gonna go down without getting the kill. The Chaos Storm comes out. Now Soren, Airwax, Unlimited, Freeze, all on the run. The ace in the hole. Looks like it was spent. I was wrong about that one, but Airwax going low. They get 1 for none. They keep on pushing another tower. That gold lead just keeps on growing.
Now when somebody gets caught, Fnatic presses the panic button and everybody rushes to help their fellow teammates. Yellowstar comes in, fantastic peel, forces Youngbuck to flash aggressively, and he just wants to finish them off. Gets Victor in the face.
You gave credit to Yellowstar in the beginning for having this game plan, having the calm, decisive shot calling.
No, immaculate game plan.
Immaculate, let's go with that. But Fnatic, as a team, react to it just so quickly. They don't question a thing.
Yeah, look where Huni is right now, and somehow, I think he managed to find his way into this fight. Youngbuck teleports in for the flank. Febivin, he has such good awareness because he gets flanked from the top, yet he flashes to the top himself, you know? It's a little contradictory. Huni's now teleporting in. They force Youngbuck into the choke, and Yellowstar, he has the front. And such good awareness from Fnatic members. Usually when you get flanked from one side, your immediate reaction is to flash to another. You know, get as far away from the threat as you can. Febivin, he's watching his minimap. He says, okay, there's only one thread here, 4 below me. Let's just flash up into my teammates, let them help me, kill Youngbuck to boot,
and Feb
even more gold.
For as much as he's been targeted this game, they haven't been able to take him down. He's gotten exactly where he needs to on this Victor. It's 17.5 minutes, he's on an item and a half, he's starting to get into a scary picture.
Honestly,
and Copenhagen Wolves can't handle.
You're right when you say that. I often forget about Feb when I'm watching these games because I'm always looking, as a bot lane main myself, watching the bot lane, and you can't not look at Huni, the magnificent beast that he is. Febiman is just so consistent in what he brings to the Fnatic lineup. Very rarely will you see him drop the ball to the point where it costs Fnatic, if at all, and fantastic MSI performance as well. He's really grown as a player.
Absolutely, and all of Fnatic, the evolution of this team has just been, well, it's been glorious so far. Dragon up and available, Reignover and Yellowstar with the help of Reckless and Febevin should polish it off nice and quick. Copenhagen Wolves just don't seem to have a reaction. Even if they move out, they're going to be spotted by wards all over the map.
Yeah, and just to further exemplify what Fnatic wants to do with their lineup, they send in Reignover. That's the thing, right? And it looks silly on paper, but then eventually they want to buff him up with Wild Growth, use the proxy slows from Huni, and to facilitate Reignover getting in there, well, the Grom battle ensues. They build 2 movement speed items. In addition to On the Hunt, they have Righteous Glory, Talisman of Ascension. Fnatic want to fight, they will get it. There is no way the Wolves can outrun them unless they have 5 acceleration gates from Jace, and even then, so much move speed on the lineup, which makes up for the lack of hard CC other than the Pulverize, and then eventually the Wild Growth combo.
Yeah, and they've got that. We've already seen it once happen with Reignover just runs headlong into the team, and the moment they start chasing him down, or rather jumping on him, Huni just pops the Wild Growth. Yellowstar gonna take a shock blast, but he's a big cow, he'll get over it. Copenhagen Wolves don't really have any control over these lanes. They're going to try to get a bit back in the top. Youngbuck's pushing against the tier 1 tower. Finally, he'll get a little help from Unlimited, but he's got to back away. This isn't safe against Fnatic.
Yeah, they don't have control because they didn't play to their strengths. They didn't have to brawl or fight. They had to scale, group up, and poke. With their composition, what they want to do is avoid fights. They want to put Fnatic in a position where they are poked so hard, get out vision controlled, and lose their objectives without taking any kills or deaths in the process. That's what the Wolves wanted to do with their first 4 picks. Then they added the Vladimir, which gave it a bit of a team fight component later on, but I feel it could have been a different pick. It went even in the lane, but didn't really mesh well with the Wolves' lineup. They don't have this dive that you comp, right? Caitlyn wants to siege and poke, put the traps. Morgana wants to defensively use the binds. Echo wants to lure people in and then re-engage eventually, or have the disengage zone with the W, but Jace and Caitlyn are the main parts of this composition. They wanted to poke, but we've never seen Copenhagen Wolves poke.
They haven't been able to do it. The lane phase was all they really thought about, and it seemed that Fnatic fully punished them. Baron has now hit the field. We're 20 minutes in. We know Fnatic, they're one of those teams that will just go for it when they're up enough. We usually don't get it till about 27.5 in, a little longer, Copenhagen Wolves, but that team is not in a position to try and even stop a Baron at this point.
Fnatic is just going to pressure the Wolves until they're absolutely sure that all the wards are gone. Keep this pressure up for a while. Reckless aggressively taking that binding.
Chunk out of Unlimited. Reignover goes around the side. Airwax looks to catch him, but he doesn't give as good as he gets. Fnatic still trying to polish off this tower.
Oh, and they can rotate to mid.
Minions in the mid. Yeah, they can just move that way. Airwax goes in, goes at the Time Winder, slows down Yellowstar, but Copenhagen Wolves are grouped up here. They can't get much done. Meanwhile, the tower's going down.
And that's exactly what they need to do. They put 2 members in between, saying either you stop us here and you come poke us and you give up the tower, or we just facilitate the rotation to the mid lane if you're inhibitor. Copenhagen Wolves have a couple of wards spread out. 2 minutes left on most of them, but darkness in the Baron pit.
Fnatic looks to maybe take their time about this one, trying to bait it out while Huni goes down and clears out bot wave. He's got teleport up. He'll be able to get into the fight if needed. Copenhagen Wolves could be walking into a trap.
And they're fine waiting Huni's TP out. Most teams, or some teams, will go for a 5-man bait here. Fnatic know that 4 is enough with the teleport from Huni in the flank or in the back, and they don't want to lose that massive wave on the bot lane. Right now they're fine doing nothing with some of their members, but they always respect the minion waves. They don't allow themselves to get rotated on in the mid lane if this bait fails. They say, okay, they're not biting immediately, well, let's push out our lanes first and try again. Some teams you see trying to bait too long and then get rotated upon in the mid lane like they could have done here, you know. They haven't dropped a single tier 1 tower in the mid or bot lane, even though that's where the most turret pressuring champions are, Jace and Caitlyn.
And honestly, that top tower is really only taken because of the insane amount of pressure they tried to put on Huni, which, by the way, didn't net a kill.
Yeah, Campbell she'll still buff her teammates.
22 minutes on the clock. Fnatic are now about 9,000 gold ahead of the Copenhagen Wolves.
Massive.
It's huge. We thought the lead against H2K was big. I mean, Fnatic, once again, they just are able to do it the same as well. They continue to apply pressure all over the map. Copenhagen Wolves do grab a bit of vision around Baron Pit. They'll be able to sense if Fnatic do try to rush it, but Fnatic don't need to. They have no need to make any rash decisions because they have complete control of this game and they're not letting go.
Yeah, watch Huni. Pushes down mid lane, pops Whimsy, moves down to the bot lane. Immediately wants to push that again. Featherman takes over the mid lane then in regard. Reckless is still solo pushing top lane. Has the backup vision around the Wolves to safely do that up until the point where the tier tower used to be. So he has offensive pressure all the way into the enemy side of the map. Featherman is respecting the zone control. He's not going any farther. He doesn't have the vision to do so. Huni knows he's unlikely to get camped by more people right there in the bottom lane, so he can overextend because if more, it takes about two people at least to kill Huni. That's enough for Fnatic to start the Baron. So
and it's worked.
It looks so easy for them. Everything is done with great calculation and with great foresight.
That foresight may well net them this game. They do win this one in a row, 8-0.
Well on their way to the biggest win streak.
Yeah, that record 9 that Fnatic of 2013 was Spring holds that one.
Here we go.
They might want to replicate that as we start to see them chasing down Freeze. He's knocked over and taken down. Huni on the chase, looks for Soren. Airwax comes around the side. Wild growth on Huni to get a little CC action in there. And Fnatic are running wild all over these Wolves. Airwax, all they can do to try and get away. Meanwhile, Soren, rain over, chunks him down, throws the axe into his back. And now Youngbuck has to pull away. They've lost 2 members, they've lost some flashes. They've lost it all, and Fnatic are paying for this Baron.
Zero hesitation on the hunt. Righteous Glory, Talisman of Ascension, all used to close that gap. Flying from Huni, he hurts the sheep. Sends some of them left, sends some of them right. Throws himself in as a one-man bomb. Flashes aggressively and uses Wild Growth. And yeah, Yellowstar wants to
stop that from
play ping pong with Airwax. That's all he has to do right now. Knock him out.
Well, they've got enough damage without him. They don't need the cow for sure. He'll just hang around the side. Airwax is looking to make a massive gap close. If this would be a Baron Seal, it would be a
They don't know where he is. Now they do.
They know where he is. Parallel Convergence comes down. The Polymorph comes in.
Ooh, he misses.
Oh, Youngbuck's there. Airwax is in the pit. This could happen. Reckless, or rather, Rainover shut down, but he has to jump over. Airwax looks to take down Huni. The Baron might have been a mistake as they took a little bit too much time. That's a double kill going over to Airwax. Febivin, meanwhile, is still able to clean up 2 of his own. But that could have been a lot worse. Airwax jumps in and Reckless outplays the heck out.
If you're wondering what's happened or what happened there, Yellowstar was looking for the WQ combo. He thought he was in range, so he popped his Q, but he did it too early. So he basically hit the floor. Then, let's watch this again. I'll explain it once we actually see it. So Hex comes down. This is good. He messes up his combo to the point where he presses Q, and it's like, oh, crap, I have to W him out of there. But then Airwax does a smart thing. He dashes in aggressively, and this forces the W from Yellowstar to alter the direction, and he knocks him in the pit by accident. Cleans up some kills, and then of course Echo can rewind time and get out of there. So unfortunate interaction, but still Fnatic. Big lead here. This could have been a throw. The game was even, but props to Airwax though. Single-handedly stopping a Baron, getting 2 kills, forcing a Summoner heal on Reckless. Good play.
Yeah, did what they could in the moment. Nonetheless, they still find themselves down 10,000 gold. Fnatic eyeballing the dragon, but the Baron is more important.
Evan's like, guys, can I solo this? Like, no, just go mid lane.
I need you this time.
Clear waves. Don't do it. Don't get greedy.
So rare mistake from Fnatic, but now they go ahead and start to force this Baron once again. Do they have the damage all together? There is an Airwax around the side. Baron's taking a little time.
They don't want to finish this. They just want to draw into Wolves. They're going to pop on the hunt, and they're going to go.
Airwax is around the back. There's on the hunt. There they turn their attention. Unlimited is going to be the one. Youngbuck as well soon to follow. He's able to execute his ultimate, but that is at a grievous cost. As now Soren being chased down. Huni will pick him up. Who says Lulu can't carry? 2-3 for 0 in favor of Fnatic, and it's right back to Baron.
And now they want to find Airwax. They know he's long in the back line. They know he wants to steal it. So he's like, okay, we'll bring it down to 5,000 gold. Come closer, Wolves. Come stop us. Pop all those movement speed steroids, and you can't outrun that. Now Airwax, he's trying to flank, but they know where he is. I doubt Fnatic will make the same mistake.
There we go. Airwax can't get involved. The Chaos Storm's down. Airwax is just burning away. He's going to jump back, rewind time. Can't make that outplay, though. Febivin knocks him down, and this Baron will be an easy cleanup for Fnatic. Oh, they are just doing so many things right here, Crepo.
Yep, everything going right. One tiny mistake from Yellowstar, but in the gist of things, triple speed up steroid. Look at how quick they're going. They're rolling over Soren. You can't stop that Olaf. Nobody can stop him. You have to kill him, but he's too tanky, too much base damage.
It doesn't matter if he's melee range. He's just too fast.
He's just too fast. Coming out of this play, Yellow Star 0-0 in 10 here. Supporting his way to the Fnatic squad. Fantastic shot calling too, because you don't see that. You don't know who's making these calls.
Oh, good lord. That is not your Baron, or that is not your dragon, Copenhagen Wolves. That is Fnatic's dragon.
Yep. We'll take this, we'll take that, take your jungle, we'll take your tower. We'll take this victory, is what Fnatic is saying.
Well on their way to it, 18 kills to 3. The Gold League just keeps spiraling out of the Copenhagen Wolves' control. Another tower should be Fnatic's in just a moment. With this, they'll have knocked down the entire inner ring without losing 2 of their outers.
It's so weird to see so many Caitlyn's come back because she got buffed, but it was a very minor buff. If you look at what changed, let's touch on that a little later as we see Fnatic.
They knocked these down too fast.
Knocked these down too fast.
Inhibitors now being fired on. 28 minutes in, Fnatic looking to close this one out nice and early. It's the hole blocked by Reckless. So with that, Fnatic back off with the Baron buff still in tow. Copenhagen Wolves, they've got to move fast, but this game is very much out of their hands.
Yeah, headshot got buffed a little bit on that Caitlyn. Every 8th or later on 7th, later on 6th auto attack, you get a headshot. And it deals a little more damage against targets with a lot of armor, but that really doesn't help Caitlyn all that much in my opinion.
Not in this situation.
I mean, yes, you do a little more damage with tanks, but that means you need to hit tanks multiple times to do that, and you can't afford that against this Fnatic lineup. You don't have time.
There goes the convergence. Airwax, he jumps on in. He rewinds time, but he is nearly blown up. Reckless Hemoplague on him, and now Youngbuck could look to try and pick him up, but the rest of Fnatic are here. Reckless goes on in. Wild Growth is on him. Doesn't have the damage, can't quite get the crit, but they've still got the tower taken down. Fnatic give up no one. They'll be able to secure another inhib and keep on going if they want, but they'll smartly back away once again.
And the Copenhagen Wolves wish they could rewind time, not 4 seconds, but about 20 minutes to back before they went for that aggressive play in the mid lane, where Huni teleported in. Picked himself up 3 or 4 assists and...
Well, at least Airwax is having fun.
The joys of...
Playing
TLDR, the Wolves done goofed in the early game, and Fnatic give him an inch and they will snowball the game, make it an avalanche, and take yet another win. 8 in a row.
All those wards Fnatic has in the Copenhagen Wolves base. You've got Youngbuck down on the bottom side trying to push back the dead inhibitor wave. There's Huni going to be pushing in the mid. Airwalk sent to deal with him now.
Right, they're flanking on Freeze.
Freeze Unlimited finds
right,
Yellow
2 seconds,
Star.
2 seconds.
He's gone. Fedivin with the godlike kill. 7-0 and 5. Huni now looking to make a play onto Airwax, who's forced to flash away just to try and stay alive here. Rainover and Huni with the Wild Growth on the chase. The help picks and the glitter lands. Huni picks him up, and now this looks like the end game for Fnatic. We don't need inhibitor turrets. Okay, I guess maybe we do.
Deny
Let the minions do
the
it.
showing of his mathematic capabilities. Count to 5 and then pulverize as the black shield goes down, but Femus says nope. From 100 to 0 in 1 second.
Might be just again. Reckless chases free all the way back. There's the Chaos Storm. It's going to follow Youngbuck onto the fountain, and it's going to take him down. It's Reckless who gets the Boomerang Blade to finish the job. Meanwhile, Nexus turret fired down. Febivin manages to barely stay alive before being taken out by Freeze, but that is not even going to matter. 30 minutes into the game, and Fnatic take themselves an 8-0 start.
Clean. Very, very clean. Just as we expected from Fnatic, and this just puts even more emphasis on the matchup next week.
It's going to be
game
big.
on a week.
Both these teams, H2K and Fnatic, have just taken surgical victories.
Yes, surgical victories in very similar styles. The way League of Legends should be played, in my opinion. Although Fnatic, they were kind of pinned down early. I feel if they got into the same situation against a better team with a similar draft, I feel there was a potential opening. It's really, really hard to say that, you know, and that's nitpicking. You have to.
You got to at this point. When the team is this good, you have to find what little there is to criticize, and one of them, a couple mistakes, and that early game.
I want to see teams challenge Fnatic with a clear-cut plan, like the Copenhagen Wolves almost had with this double poke composition. Find the right lanes. They had that lead in the bot lane. They had a scaling Jace in mid lane. They neutralized Huni in the top lane. But Huni, when you neutralize him in lane, if you can, he will just teleport down and help his teammates get the advantage. It's exactly what he did. I can't stress enough that one play around the 10-minute mark. Instant teleport. Fevens gets ganks, instant teleport. Comes in. That just shows how well oiled the machine Fnatic is.
But for these Wolves, I mean, I don't know. You can't expect to beat Fnatic, but at the same time, they got rolled over. They did have a good start. They did have a good draft. But you make one mistake, like we said, over and over again. And then Fnatic will run over you every single time. You just can't do it. You have to be flawless.
And that's hard.
It's difficult.
I've played against teams like this before. It's just so incredibly unnerving because you think you're doing everything right, and then you're like, oh, just one mistake. If only we could go back to that play, try it again. But then 5 minutes later, they'll find an opening anyways because they give away so little. And that's why some of the games sometimes seem close. You know, like, oh, Fnatic, yeah, they didn't stomp them before 10 minutes because they don't give away anything. You know, they're fine with playing losing matchups because they keep it close enough for the snowball not to matter. You don't get strong enough to beat Fnatic in 2v3 situations. If Fnatic brings in an extra member like Reignover, then you lose that situation regardless every time. That's how they keep the lead small, so they can always get help from their teammates. And Fnatic works so well together.
Yeah, I mean, there's zero hesitation in the movements they make. You talked about it in that first play that turned around Fnatic's fortunes in the early game with Huni teleporting in before Youngbuck, who was on the team that initiated the action, had time to react. I mean, it's not just who can hit the button faster, it's who's thinking in the same mindset, who is making the call, who is following up. Fnatic are a team that run at 1,000 miles per hour. These guys
literally
just can't be stopped.
Yeah, figuratively and literally this
well, yeah,
game.
when you've got the coin, the Talisman of Ascension, you've got the Sivir Ultimate, and you've got
Righteous Glory.
Righteous Glory, like all together, yeah.
Unstoppable force that was
0 to
Reign over
60
this game.
in less than a second.
Yeah, really Zerg composition almost, and then it all came together once Reignover got into that backline. Then Lulu just, let's just look at the big side here. So you see how it all works together, and everybody's rushing so far forward that nobody is threatening Febiven. He ended his game with 1 death only, right at the end when he was, call it trolling a little bit at the fountain.
Yeah.
And because nobody's threatening him, nobody can get to him because you have to run through that Olaf, run through that Lulu, run through that Sivir and that Alistar, you know, and then eventually you can get to the victor, and then he just pops ERQ, and you're dead.
Well, they focused so much attention in lane on him too. I mean, that was the start of that action. That was a big focus for Airwax, and they just couldn't get anything done. The top lane traded even for a little bit, and then the bottom lane, yes, it was ahead, but as you mentioned, that's a winning matchup. They almost have to win that.
Yeah, and just we sound like a broken record.
Yeah. Well, there's not much else to say for it. He did
21
fantastic.
bans.
3-1 and 10 on Lulu. He goes into a 5th champion pick. It was a flex pick. It was calculated. They made plays on. He was able to get solo kills. You can't stop this guy.
I just want to see what the difference in approach will be in the second half of the split. Because right now we've seen 8 games. Next week we'll see every matchup played once, and then we can see if teams realize, okay, they're the better team right now. We have to try something different. And I want to see teams potentially alter their ban strategy. Say we can't shut down Huni. It's simply impossible. Time and time has proven again that it's not possible. Let's target somebody else. See if we can push Febin into a corner. I don't think so, but hey, you can try. Maybe Yellowstar, because he's the thing that ties all together. Or Reignover. I feel these double support roles in jungle and support could be the weakness of Fnatic. I doubt it, but
I want to see what HJK do against them, because I feel like they will have definitely been making note throughout this split, and obviously we heard probably talking about how I've prepared for them. So we'll have to see. That's next week, of course. But for now, with that game over and done with, we're going to send it over to the analyst desk, where they're going to have a word with Fnatic's Reignover about that win.
Thank you so much, guys. Indeed, congratulations, Reignover, still flawless with Fnatic. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, man, that was brutal. It was like watching a boxing match between Muhammad Ali and an armless toddler or something like. But what do you think is that? Like, what is your main strength that separates you from the other teams?
I don't know if I have like special strength, but I think it's just our team play. Like if I ask for something, our team really do perform well. Like if I cannot do something at this point, then I just tell my team that I cannot really do something. I need to farm up, and then they actually don't get ganked. They play really safe, but they don't fall behind. But if I can, like, snowball when I take my power spike, like our team really force enemy laners to push the lane or like erase the vision for me and then tell me where the ward is. So I think it's just like our team is like using junglers really well. So
that must be nice.
Yeah, indeed. It must be nice. It reflected once again in you guys' early game. That was very strong. Talk me through some of your picks. First off, there was a Lulu, which is a different style for Huni in your composition. Was that just experimenting what you could do with a pick like that?
We actually practice lots of Lulu too, because obviously we're getting a lot of top ban, and Lulu is a pretty good pick on lane 2, and our AD is best AD Europe, so
all right.
it's good to have Lulu with a good AD, so we're just practicing a lot.
Cyanide was saying that it was Reckless's influence of getting more supports in there to protect them, actually.
Yeah. But why do you pick Olaf over like your normal comfort picks, Rek'Sai, Gragas?
Rek'Sai and Gragas both have like good points. Like for example, Gragas, you have less impact on early game, but you have really high impact on team fight. And for example, Rek'Sai, you have really high impact on early game, and then like little bit slightly less impact on late game. But like Olaf, like I think you're strong in my opinion, it's strong in like all time, and then you can peel if you want, you can engage if you want. So I think it's pretty like all-rounder. So like I just practice a lot of time Olaf because it got buffed too, and I usually played in before too. So, and then Rek'Sai and Gragas, I think now people like know how to play against it. So it's like not that easy to success ganks and then like having good time on prospects. So it's like some kind of like new picks like Olaf works really good on LCS, for example, and even in like practice. So I think we're using it.
Yeah, you guys will truly like the dynamic duo. Like the Lulu Olaf synergy as well was like insane when Lulu TP'd mid and then you just ultimate ghost whatever, just run in and then you kill them all, pretty much made the game there.
Yeah, we actually have a beautiful example of everything you just described about Olaf. So let's get the replay up on the screen. It's from the early game, about 10 minutes in. And we can can you orientate yourself on when this moment is? Then we can run the clip and you can talk us through this.
Yep. We were kinda knew that Echo was gonna gank mid because it's good gank. It's good jungler to gank mid, so like I was trying to counter gank, and then I was trying to focus on Jace even though I was far because Lulu was tipping, so I was asking for the movement speed, and then she gave me movement speed, and then she gave me ult, so I was able to just chase until I kill him, and then even though Morgana come faster, Jace was already dead, so we were able to win the skirmishes, so it was good team fight for us.
Yeah, you end up getting a double kill, and later on there's going to be another couple of kills and one in the mid lane as well, so we can cut that replay here.
Why do you never buy boots early as Olaf?
Even though you have boots, if you don't have combat stat, then you cannot really do as much because you actually have to stick together to deal. And you like it's really easy to get damage when you are able to damage, like when you're melee. So I go tank item first because so I can be able to fight. Like for the movement speed, I have Ghost instead of Flash, so even though they have boots, I'm still faster, and then my ult gives me movement speed, and then also I reduce their movement speed, so it's just like, it's hard to be in the right position when enemy jungler try to gank, but if you just communicate well with the teammates, even though you don't have boots, you can just still manage to play, so.
And you guys definitely communicating well. Another win. That sets you up for the clash versus H2K next week for the top of the tables. Also game of the week. They're very excited for that one. We heard from Prali. Give me your thoughts on the matchup.
For me, I'm pretty confident. I know that H2K is a strong team, but I think they struggle if they have bad early game, but I'm pretty confident to have good early game, so our team is really confident against them.
Well, it's going to be quite interesting because they had a stellar early game again today as well. Super exciting matchup. Thank you so much, Rainover. All right, in just a few minutes, Gambit Gaming will try and keep up their climb in the standings versus the Unicorns of Love. Don't you touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Why are they shouting Hune? Why are they not shouting freeze, freeze, freeze?
Maybe after the game. You do it right.
There it goes, still running through. Febivin providing extra fire. A double kill for Rainover. The Olaf is going wild.
Throwing that Pixie in Youngbuck's face.
Help picks.
Nice.
It's the boomerang blade to finish the job. Meanwhile, Nexus turret fired down. Febivin manages to barely stay alive before being taken out by Freeze. And Fnatic take themselves an 8-0 start.